All right. So thank you all so much for coming. I know we have a lot of people who have been at the previous PayFi summits, but also first-time participants here. Some of them have been in the payment space and the financial industry for a very, very long time. So as I was thinking about what to talk about, a few things happened on the way. And I decided to just turn it into more of a stream of consciousness kind of a talk. I was sitting on my plane here to New York from California, and the gentleman across the aisle from me broke down because he learned that he just lost his sister. He was trying to come and see her at the hospital, and she didn't make it, and he couldn't make it in time. And obviously, the whole flight, I stopped thinking about anything else or my keynote. I just got into this existential thinking. And that's why I actually decided to talk about the existential part of PayFi instead of what PayFi is, the specific solutions, but why is PayFi? And the most important aspect of it to me is freedom. And this is also inspired, obviously, as I landed in New York. And New York is full of symbols of liberty, symbols of freedom. And as I was, walking to my hotel, I started seeing the symbols. Everything started coming together. And I started having this, the consciousness about, this has to be about freedom. This has to be about liberty. But is it really there today? And what should we do to actually make sure that PayFi is freedom? At Huma, obviously, we spent a lot of time building solutions, and our platform today is driving close to $10 billion a year volume, which is amazing in scale compared to what's happening in crypto payments. But it's nothing, literally nothing compared to what's really happening in the general payment space. And that's why it's important to remember that we're early, and we need to remind ourselves, why we're doing this, so that, we have a North Star that's not just another number that we are trying to hit, whatever is like 100 billion or the trillion. It's more about, why are we doing this? Like, why are we here? Why are we building Huma? And the conclusion we come to again and again and again when we have this conversation is that we are here because we are trying to accelerate the movement of money for a world that's always on, right? The world doesn't really sleep, right? When you need to send money back home, about 1 in 6 families depend on remittances. You don't want to wait for bank holidays. But today, end-to-end payments, remittances can take anywhere from 3 to 6 days, sometimes longer. Business payments, even worse, right? Small businesses who are doing, selling to the outside world, sometimes take a month or more to get their payments. Same thing happens with card payments. When you swipe a card, the merchant doesn't get their payment immediately. A lot of things need to happen. Sometimes there are 5, 6 different institutions that need to get into the stream of payments and need to take their cuts, add slippage here, slippage there, and you end up settling in 2 to 3 days if you're lucky. If not, again in weeks. And you get a fraction of what the buyer was trying to pay you. If you're a small and thin margin business, good luck making it. You feel like you hate this whole financial system. And it shouldn't be that way, right? It shouldn't be that way. And there's no reason today, especially with the technology that we have, with the infrastructure that we have, for it to work that way. The other question is maybe, when we say why is PayFi, we actually moved this PayFi summit from another location. It was going to happen in Dubai to New York. And I think it's a very ironic thing that we moved it to New York. And when we think about why we're all here today, there are many different reasons. If you ask the questions like, why are we here? Or like, why are we here? You'll get different answers. The point of view that I want to bring is that this, where we sit, is the single densest payment hub of the world. It's as if, like, if you think about the whole payment world as a universe, it's as if someone created this giant black hole, and every single payment transaction has to route through New York. This is how it feels. And when I say that, I'm not exaggerating, because when you look at the numbers, you're going to realize that Fedwire is at the scale of 1.1 quadrillion dollars of transactions a year. Every single USD transaction in the world, large transaction in the world, has to go through New York, has to go through the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. The CLS continuous link settlements that does FX settlements for 18 different pairs or more is about 1.8 quadrillion dollars of transactions settle in New York, right here. DTCC, all the equities, bonds, they settle right here in New York. 2.5 quadrillion dollars of payments are settling right here. And it's really interesting, because payments and transactions, when we think about them, is happening all around the world, but somehow they're all forced to route through New York, and we have this many, many quadrillion dollars of payments and transactions all routing through New York. And as I mentioned, this Federal Reserve Reserve Bank of New York is the single settlement agent for USD globally. If you have to send USD anywhere, if you have to wire USD anywhere, it has to settle by this institution. And if that settlement has to be financed, if someone has to provide liquidity, it has to be the federal bank. So every single institution needs to have an account on the books of this reserve bank, and that's why everybody has to go through New York, where we're sitting right now. And the address for this bank that you're seeing in the picture is 33 Liberty Street. So a bit ironic at the same time. That's why when we start thinking about PayFi, we didn't start thinking about, okay, what do we build? We start thinking about how do we build this? And we got a lot of the ethos of PayFi from the early days of internet, when internet was this siloed thing, that there were some centralized elements of it. It didn't really work. It didn't necessarily power the products that we actually see and use today. It didn't power the Google search. It didn't power YouTube. It didn't power the fintech applications that we're benefiting from. It didn't power the Uber app or the whichever your favorite transportation app that you use. It was just this siloed intranets. And when some of the thinkers and the leaders of this research movement came together, they decided to build this OSI model, which was a multi-layered model to connect all these dots together so the internet can happen globally in a decentralized way. So we got a lot of our inspiration from that, and we came up with this open PayFi stack, and we said, okay, there is no need to have a single solution that powers every single layer. You need to have the freedom to be able to use any transaction layer, right? Yes, maybe Solana is really the best transaction layer, L1, but you should have the freedom to use any one of them, because every single one of them can actually serve different purposes, different use cases. Same thing with the currency layer. Yes, maybe USDC, USDT are the most used stable coins in the world, but there are many, many other more stable coins, and some of them are going to talk about today. You should be able to use whichever stablecoin makes sense for that use case. You should be able to use not only a USD-based stablecoin, but you should be able to use local fiat pegged stablecoins as well. You should be able to use decentralized stablecoins, whatever makes sense. You should have the freedom to choose for the use case whatever you want to use. Same thing with custody layer, right? You should not be forced to use a specific account in a specific bank. You should be able to use non-custodial solutions to be able to settle. You should be able to use shared custody solutions or qualified custody solutions. Whatever you like, you should have the freedom to be able to choose your custody solution. Same thing with compliance layer. There shouldn't be just like one body that's keeping everybody in check. There should be many different compliance solutions, some of them also decentralized. And the financing layer, it shouldn't be just the Fed that's providing liquidity for USD. If it's USDC, it can be Huma, it can be another institution that's providing financing for these transactions. And on top of that, you can build anything. That's the most important thing. When you have freedom, not as in the free beer as the free software movement says, but as in free speech, as in freedom. When you have freedom, you can build anything. And we see this actually in the stablecoin ecosystem quite well. where we started from and where we are today is incredible. If you looked at this map that Artemis publishes on a regular basis, not this on a regular basis, this table looked very slim just a few years ago, and now it's filled by amazing solutions. You have USD-based stable coins, local stable coins that provide liquidity on those local off-ramps. You have cross-border solutions. You have card solutions that used to be just a marketing thing. A few years ago, people used fiat rails to settle and call it crypto cards. But now we actually have real crypto cards that are settling on crypto rails, settling in stable coins. And we still have long ways to go. But this freedom movement is basically enabling more and more type of solutions to come and play their role and proliferate the whole ecosystem. And that's why I think, maybe more important than what is PayFi, why is PayFi? And PayFi is freedom. And it not only the thing that actually matters in terms of what is the scale, do we get to quadrillions of dollars of transactions in PayFi? It also matters how we get there. And I think once we realize that, we'll be able to build the right solutions and not just be happy that we're getting to trillions of dollars of settlements and movements, but we'll also be happy because we're creating a better money infrastructure and we're moving money around the world without being stuck to the centralized systems that we have been stuck with for so long. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of the talks.